Hey everybody, this is Deb with Read the Writer, and I wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of the writing program Scrivener. This is something that's a very useful tool for writers, but a lot of people get intimidated when they first open it up because they're not used to how it works. The first thing I need to say is probably if you've not been using a dedicated writing program, you've probably been using Microsoft Word or something along those lines. And it works in a more linear fashion. Well, Scrivener doesn't work in a linear fashion, and I'll explain more about that in just a little bit when we get it open. But first of all, when you get to this screen, it can be kind of intimidating if you've never been here before, but when you open it up, this is what you're going to see. And the getting started, the interactive tutorial is a nice place to go, and there are now video tutorials that you can look up too, including this one, right? And hopefully that's where you found me. But there are also other options over here in case you want to see them. You have a blank one that you can bring up if you like to make up your own format as to how things are going to work. But I suggest for the first time that you open up either the fiction or nonfiction or script writing, whichever you're working with. Now the fiction one will come up looking something like this. These are the defaults, and you have a novel with parts, and a short story. Okay, so you can choose what you're going to have. The novel with parts would be like part 1, and then you have chapters in that, and then part 2, and you have chapters in that. Probably the most common will be the novel. And you can see just from this overview that there's a little bit of a difference in between them. The novel one is going to come up with a title page, which is common when you send in your novel. That's what it'll look like. A short story, on the other hand, usually has your information up here, has the word count over here, and then your title and everything down here. So you can see that the first page of a short story is going to look different from the first page of a novel. And any of these formats are very easy to change, okay? They are not set in stone, and anytime you want to make them look different, you can do that. You can also take a blank one and you can do whatever you want with that and set it up as a template. Then you can use it every time. And that's usually what I use with mine. Although I don't have the template in here right now just because I didn't want to confuse you. There is for nonfiction too, if you're doing those, script writing and miscellaneous. So those are some kinds of things that you already have set up. But we're going to start with the fiction right now. And we're going to go to the novel. You click on that. You're going to have to put it under some kind of name, and you're going to have to put it in some folder. Now, I've got mine right now under short stories, but I put all of my flash fiction short stories into one project, and that's what Scrivener is called. Each of the items is called a project. And so you're just going to put some kind of thing in here. I'm going to put testing, okay? And I'm going to leave it in right here where it is and just create. That's all you have to do. And it will create a new project. So when you click create, this is what's going to come up. And this is a document that just kind of gives you an overview of how to use this template, compiling, all these kinds of things. There's very important information in here that you can read through, but some of it may not make sense until you've actually used the program for a little bit. What's really important over here is the binder. This is what makes this dedicated writing program brilliant. Okay, in my opinion, and better for writing long pieces than regular Word or any other regular word processing program like that. And that is, this binder gives you the ability to navigate quickly between the different documents that are here. You'll see that there are some that have arrows next to them, and those are main folders. And then there are chapters, and underneath those chapters then you have scenes, and basically these are folders that will contain all the scenes. Now right now we have one scene that's put in here, and this is where you would type. This is where you type and write and misspell things, your document. So this is where your document is going to start coming together. You use it like a regular word processor. You can highlight, you can bold, you can do any of those things. There's some basic ones here. You can change the color of the font, whatever. But I want to tell you there's another difference between Microsoft Word and using a dedicated writing program like this. And that is when you get ready to output it. the output may not be exactly what you see on the screen. So don't spend your time putting this all as you want it, making it all pretty. If you're writing like poetry or something like that, don't spend the time here formatting it correctly like you want it, because this writing environment has absolutely nothing to do with how it will be outputted, except the text. I mean, that's the only thing that's going to be part of it. So you don't need to worry about how this is formatted. Now for me, I tend to like Arial font. That is mine. Now yours may not come up as Arial, it may come up as something else, but I personally, it's easier on my eyes, it's easier for me to work with. However, if you want to do something in a standard format, for most publishers right now in this climate, you're going to want to use either Times New Roman or Courier. Those are really the only two acceptable fonts for output. Now, that's not a problem when you have a dedicated writing program like Scrivener, because the output can be formatted differently than what you're putting on here. And then whenever you just click a button to output it, then it will put it all together in one place. Now I know that's a little confusing for people at this point, but there will be videos that will show each of these steps and you'll understand a little bit better when you watch a few. So we have a scene. Well, obviously most books are going to be more than one scene, right? So you go up here to this big plus button and it allows you to put in a new text, which would be like another scene, or you can put another folder, or you can even pick in some things from a template. Okay, so let's do a new text, and you'll notice where it put it. It gives me a chance to title it, and I can put scene 2. Now I can also change that up here if I want to. I can change it to scene 3, and it will change it over here as well. And then if we want to put another one in, we can just go here, new text, or you can do Control N, that will also do it. And we put in scene 2. Now here is where we have the beauty of a writing program. Although we read from the beginning until the end in a linear fashion, few books are actually written that way. Usually writers will start writing. You may write your first draft that way, but eventually you're going to come to a point where you think, oh, I need a scene back here, I need a scene over there, or whatever the case is. And this is the difference between a writing program and Microsoft Word or any of those other word processing programs. It's that you need to think in scenes instead of in the whole, because all you'll be able to see in this particular box here will be that particular scene. Now, if you notice over here, I've scene 3, and scene 2. Well, that's not the order we want them in. We want scene 2 to come next, right? So we can just drag it up there. And so this scene 2, this is the second scene. Yes, I have to say it as I type, or I'll not be able to do it. And then we have, and this is scene 3. So that's how you put more scenes in, or more chapters. If you want more chapters, a chapter is just a folder, and you can do that the same way. You can go up here, you can add a new folder, and you can make that chapter 2. Now if you'll notice, look at this. I'm going to change, I double clicked on this, and I'm going to change that to chapter 1. When you click on this, you can see all the scenes that are in that particular chapter. You can also label them first draft or other things, and that'll be in a future video. But you still have the scenes individually here. Well, if you notice, see this arrow here? When I click that arrow, it goes up and down, and then you see you have the scenes and the chapters like that. So it's really easy to navigate from one chapter to the next. And that, again, is brilliant. Now, if you look at chapter 2, you click on that and you go, oh, but there's no place to write. Okay, that's where you go up here, you add a new text, and you've got scene 1 of chapter 2. And again, you can name these whatever. Now, frankly, I don't name them scene 1, scene 2. I name them something so I know what's in that scene. And I'll explain why I do that in later videos, because I think it makes the navigation a lot easier. Sometimes you're writing along and you say, oh, wait a minute, I need this detail, and I know I had it back in this certain scene. So you can easily click on that scene, and then you can go back to where you were. And again, these little arrows open up and close it so you can see it if you need to, or if you don't need to see that chapter, you can just focus on this one. And you'll notice when I click now on this one, it has scene 1 of chapter 2. Okay, this is the corkboard view, and you can see up here, this is where the corkboard view is located. So there we go. And so you've got all of those. Now, again, if we want a new chapter, we just go up here and we add a new folder, and then in that folder we put our scenes, which are text. Okay? So that's how you work it to get it started. We'll talk more about all the different things that are in here, but I wanted to show you that because one of the biggest things is when you get a new program to work with, you want to start using it right away. Well, this is one of the ways you start using it. If you haven't started your novel, this is the route to go. Now, if you have started your novel, I'm going to show you how you can import your novel into this, and it will actually break scenes and break chapters for you, depending on how your novel is set up in Word or whatever word processing program you use. That'll be in the next video, and you'll be able to see how to do that. But for now, this is going to get you up and running. You can easily go in, make a new scene if you need to. That's the text. Make a new folder. That'd be like a chapter. Or you can leave it without any chapters at all at first. When I write mine, I usually just have scenes, and then I go through and break it into chapters later. So, it's up to you how you use it, but I wanted to show you those things so you can get started right away. You can start typing right away in it. And remember that whatever you have here is not going to affect how it's put out. And it's called output. It's not print or anything like that. And you're not going to see the whole document together in one place at this point, although there are ways of doing that, and that's in a future video. Here is your output. It's called compile, and so that's how you're going to put it out for like print, or if you want to put everything into one document. So that's for a future video. So I want to thank you for stopping by on this, and I will see you all later.